What is up, guys? I'm Cody, and today I'm going to be going over setting up a release plan to get your music into the hands of the right audience and some easy marketing strategies that you can follow to do this. Now, I've had so many people reach out to me asking for me to do a video on this, and I got so much to cover, so let's just jump right into it. Now, before you dive into a release plan, it's very, very important that you have all of your content back. What I mean by this is making sure you have the mix and masters done for your music, your album artwork is complete, and you have some promo photos ready to go. Now, way too often, I see bands and artists putting out music before everything's done. They'll make a post saying that they're dropping a new single in 2 weeks, but they haven't even got the mix back for that song yet. Not only does this limit the marketing that you can do on this song, but it also puts a real time crunch, and you could be in some trouble if things don't go as planned. Now, don't worry, this is something I've been guilty of myself, so if you have done it in the past, that's okay. A few years ago, we had a song set to release through Alternative Press magazine, and I didn't get the master back until 1 week before the song was about to go live. And they didn't even get the music video until the day before. Now, this is cutting it way too close. I've since learned from this mistake, and so make sure you don't do this yourself. Now, if you don't have all of your content back yet, this actually can put you at a bit of an advantage. It's incredibly important that when you're marketing an album, you think about the branding of it. Not only the branding of the song or the album itself, but about the band as well. If you look at any major artist, every single album cycle, they tend to have a theme. Now, coming up with something like this can be a little challenging, so you are gonna have to get a little creative, but it's something that everybody can do. Now, let me show you some examples that my band used for our branding concepts. We chose a super simple theme, the color yellow. It doesn't have to be anything overly elaborate or complex. It can be something as simple as a color. Not only do we use this for our album cover, but we also took a series of photos with this concept in mind. We were lucky enough to find a great location with a really good yellow backdrop that we used as not only our band's profile pictures, but each of our own personal profile pictures as well. This way, every time somebody saw the color yellow, they would think of our band. Now, this branding worked so well for us. I was on tour recently on the East Coast in the United States, and I had someone come up to me saying, "Hey, aren't you the dude from that yellow band?" I had no idea that this simple theme and branding strategy would work so well for us. We've even utilized it with our merch and across all of our social media platforms, including Spotify. Now, we even took this branding concept a step further and incorporated it into all of our single releases. As you can see, the artwork for all 4 of our singles have a similar theme and idea in mind, while still using that color yellow. Now, this is something super simple, and it doesn't have to be just a color. It can be anything that helps you stand out from the rest and that people identify with your music. Now, once you have all of your content put together and everything's ready to go, it's time to start thinking about how you're gonna schedule your release. Now, let's say you're putting out more than one song in the form of an EP or an album. Typically, you're gonna want this process to take somewhere around 3 or 4 months, so by no means is it quick, but this will give you lots of time to drive traffic towards that music once it's available. So the first thing you're probably gonna wanna put out is a single off that album. This will give you a chance to show your fans what you've been working on and get them excited about the new album. Now, you don't need to worry too much about leading up to this. We can almost call this day 1 on the release plan. It's okay for there to be no material before it, and simply this is the day where everything starts happening. It's important that you attack day 1 very strong and have a good plan moving forward. Each time you release a single, you should think about what the purpose behind it is. A single is really a marketing tool for the whole EP. In this case, single 1 is our big announcement day. This is where we're gonna announce the date that the record's coming out, have a pre-save link to it, and show everybody what the new songs are gonna sound like. Now, what you may wanna do with this first single is have it premiere on a bit larger of a platform. There are a lot of great media companies out there that are constantly in search of new content for their site, and your song might just be what they're looking for. Now, the first single we put out was premiered by a media company called New Noise Magazine. All they posted was a photo of us, a simple write-up which we wrote ourselves, and a link to the song on both Spotify and YouTube. Now, what I recommend is you find a few mid-size artists within your genre and see where they've been premiering their music. Now, you might think that a lot of these media companies are a little too big and don't want to work with you, but they need content for their site too. What I suggest is reach out to them in a light but professional manner and explain to them your release plan and exactly what you're doing with your music. If they have a slot free that day, they might just exclusively premiere your song on their site. Another thing to think about is the day of the week that you're going to be releasing these songs. I always recommend releasing on Fridays. If you look at most major artists, they are always dropping new music on Friday. A lot of this has to do with Spotify. They update their playlist every single Friday. So if you put out a song then, you can get an email Saturday morning and they'll tell you, "Hey, congratulations, we've put your song in one of our curated playlists." Now, if getting onto Spotify playlists is something you need help with, I have a link in the description below on exactly how to do that. Now, if we have 3 months between the time the first single hits and the album drops, we want to make sure that we gain as much traffic as possible and are super active every single day. This means regular Instagram stories, Facebook posts, tweets, TikToks, whatever you're using, make sure you are super active and engaging your followers. Now, you want to aim to have another single out roughly 3 or 4 weeks after that first single drops. This is going to act as a reminder that you have new music coming out and will help keep them excited about it. People have already heard one song off your album, so they kind of know what to expect from it. It's always great with one of these follow-up singles that you have some sort of bonus content that can go along with it. Maybe it's a music video that you shot for this song, or maybe it's just an acoustic performance of that first song that you put out. It doesn't have to be anything crazy, even if it's just one person with an acoustic guitar and singing, anything does the trick. You just want to make sure that you're keeping people engaged and active on all of your social media platforms. So after another 3 or 4 weeks, I recommend putting out another single 3. I know a lot of people think, oh, well, singles are a waste of time, let's just put it all out there. Well, by putting out as many singles as possible, that gives you one more chance to get added to a Spotify playlist. Now, my band put out a 5-track EP, so let me show you the breakdown of how we scheduled everything. We had initially planned to release our first single on February the 8th, which was a Friday, but a band that we're really good friends with was releasing their album that day, so we thought it would be best to not try to compete with each other. So we pushed ours back to the following Monday. And from there, we decided that every 4 weeks we should be putting out a new song. So we arbitrarily chose to use the 11th of every month as the day that we would release. This also happens to be my favorite number, so I thought that was pretty cool. As you can see, we put out a single February 11th, March 11th, and April 11th, with the album to drop May 11th. Now, we had really great success with Spotify playlisting on our first 2 singles, and we decided that we should add a 4th one in there to be considered for Spotify playlists. Since we had 5 songs and only 3 of them were going to be released as singles, that meant that only 1 from the EP would be able to be considered for Spotify playlisting. So by adding the 4th single, which we released just a week before, not only did it hype up that the EP was dropping that week, but it also gave us an opportunity to have that last song featured in a Spotify playlist. This is something that I highly recommend every single band do, especially if you are getting noticed by Spotify. One thing that I don't think people realize is fans of music feel like they're friends with the artists, and they are friends with the artists. Every time they're through their town, they hang out and they spend time together, and they have a few minutes or a few hours of interaction time between each other, where the fans really get to connect with that musician. I think it is so important that you stop treating your audience like fans and more like friends. Through the growth of my own band, I've noticed that all of our fans are really just my friends. These are people all across the country and all across the world that I engage with and I chat with every once in a while whenever they hit me up or whenever they comment on one of our photos. So I think it's super important that you drop the fan stigma and just be friends with everybody. It'll benefit you more than you know and will really pay off in the long haul. Now, something that I have done in the past is look up on Instagram hashtags of bands that I think sound fairly similar to mine, and liking those photos and commenting on those people's photos, and even sometimes messaging them directly. Now, make sure you're not doing any spammy posts where it's just copy and paste, but really personalize it. Let's say you're a male pop singer and songwriter, and you think that fans of Shawn Mendes would really like your music. Well, search up people who have tagged Shawn Mendes in a photo and like their stuff, comment on it, maybe even send them a message asking how the show was if it was a photo from there, or what they think of the newest album. Don't just start with some repetitive, hey, listen to my new song on Spotify. That's not gonna help. Like I said, we're trying to make friends here. All it takes is 5 minutes of conversation and you've instantly made a connection with someone. I know personally, I am way more likely to go listen to a song by one of my friends' bands than a band that I just like. And actually, most of my favorite musicians are my friends. Or at least, I think they're my friends. Now, it may seem like this is going to take a ton of time, but you have no idea the impact of this. Every single person that you connect with, even if it's just 10 minutes of conversation, is going to be with you for the long haul. Not only are they going to listen to all the singles you put out, but they're going to listen to the album. They're going to follow you on Instagram. They're going to send you messages all the time about your newest photo or your newest music video, or let's hang out the next time you're in my city. And that is great. This is really what you need as a musician. Having all the Spotify streams in the world doesn't matter if nobody's coming to your shows and nobody's buying your merch. This is how you're gonna grow real fans, not just streams. So, single 1 has been out for just about 3 months, single 2 has been out for 2 months, and single 3 has been out for a month now. Now, a lot of people think, well, the album has released, the songs are out there, it's done. But no, it doesn't stop just there. Your job now is to keep up traction on this album for as long as possible. Now, it doesn't take a whole lot, but everybody needs a friendly reminder to keep listening to your music. A great thing to accompany the release of your EP is a support tour or even just a release show. There's no more satisfying feeling as a musician then putting all this hard work into an EP, and then finally getting out there and being able to play it. If you're fairly new to playing music live, maybe just book one show locally and have all your friends and family come out to really support the release and celebrate that you finally have this music out. Or if you've been doing this for a little while now, book a little tour. This could be just a couple shows over the weekend in your area, or maybe you want to cover a larger region by going on tour for a week or two. Either way, this is something you should think about before your music starts coming out. You should have this planned and booked well in advance of that first single coming out. Now, another way I've been able to promote my music well after it's come out is by using Facebook groups. I'm probably in 20 or 30 Facebook groups of my music style. Now, people are constantly asking for new music suggestions, whether they're on a road trip or they're going to the gym or creating a new playlist. And this is your opportunity to throw your music in the comments. There are going to be tons of other people seeing this, and it's going to drive traction towards your band. Posting in these groups do work too, but I haven't found a ton of success through them, and you want to make sure you're not over-posting and being annoying. Now, I can't stress this enough. It's so important that from day one when you start releasing, that you're active on social media every single day. You need to be replying to everybody's comments, posting photos often, and be super active with your stories. Content is king. While you're recording, make sure you're taking as many photos as possible, as many videos as possible. Maybe record some acoustic versions or a piano version or just a vocal cover. Anything helps. Throughout this entire process, you need to be releasing as much content as possible, daily if you can. At the end of the day, being a musician comes down to being friendly and personable. You want to make sure that you're a people person's paper company. Now, one quick thing while you are trying to grow yourself as a musician is don't be trying to get your followers from one social media site to another. For example, don't make a Facebook post saying follow my Instagram or vice versa. You already have these people following you on one location, so just cater to them. Use all of these sites to funnel your traffic to one source. For me, my source is Spotify. I want everybody to listen to our music on Spotify, so that's where I tell everybody to go. I'm not going to tell our Facebook followers to come to our Instagram page, or our Instagram page to go check out our TikTok page, or our TikTok followers to go on Twitter. If they have those platforms, they'll find us. Now, what social media sites have you been using to promote yourself as an artist, and what have you found the most success from? Comment down below. I'm super curious to see all of your answers. Now, all of this is just advice, and what works for me may not work for you, but I do know that trying nothing will lead to failure. So go out there, give it your best effort, and you will succeed. I hope all of this has been super helpful, and don't forget to click like and subscribe down below for more content. Peace.